Hey, welcome to the Creative Waltz. It's
334.
340,
334.
357,
45.
it's 350. And I'll tell you why I've been awake in these pretty weird hours. In May, I decided to try a different sleeping schedule than what we are accustomed to. In modern days, we sleep under a monophasic sleep schedule, which means we just collapse for 7 to 9 hours, ideally, and we get all of our rest this way. The experiment this month was to try a biphasic sleep schedule, specifically segmented sleep, which meant that I would get 2 sleep cycles. 3.5 hours in the first cycle from 11 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. Then I would wake up for around 60 to 90 minutes, do some healthy stuff, and then I would go back to sleep. And the second sleep cycle would go from around 4 a.m. to 7:30 a.m.
2:34 in the morning, May 1st. This is the first day I'm waking up at 2:30. Initial thoughts. I don't feel as bad as I thought. I didn't sleep that well. I definitely didn't get 4 hours right now. I don't want to turn on the camera because I probably look like but yeah, this is not that bad, I think.
According to the book A Day's Close, Night in Times Apart by Robert Ekirk, I have no idea how to pronounce that. Humans are natural segmented sleepers. Based on letters from the past, Ekirk figured out that our pre-industrial ancestors followed a segmented sleep schedule. There was first sleep from around 9 or 10 p.m. until midnight, then a second sleep. In between those sleep cycles, they tended the fire, read or talked, had sex, smoked, and meditated on the events of the previous day. As we developed artificial light, this started to change, robbing us from our nocturnal hiatus, impairing the quality of our dreams and depriving us of a better understanding of our inner selves. And I very much agree that having this time in which we are half asleep and half awake is a great time to understand and work on ourselves. But you know, it is what it is, and now we just collapse for 8 hours straight. It's May 8th. It's been a full week since I started the segmented sleep experiment. I just finished my morning pages and reading a little bit of Cloud Atlas. Originally, I wanted to try this format because I didn't feel that I was as productive as I wanted to be. After around 4 p.m., I felt that I couldn't be as creative and I couldn't focus on the things that I wanted to do. And then I would just go and spend a lot of time on social media instead of doing the things that are important to me. So the segmented sleep schedule just gave me a time to have peace. I like having this time to just write on my journal or do the morning pages. I like having this time to read. That part is something that I really like, but it's very hard to maintain this in a, real world scenario. As the challenge came along, I picked up a habit called the morning pages, which is a stream of consciousness type of journaling that I've been doing for the past month, where you just wake up and you write everything that is on your mind across 3 pages, and it has to be handwritten. Around halfway of the challenge, I got interested in learning how to meditate, and I've been doing that for around 3 weeks every day now. And during the whole experiment, I took a few minutes to read and drink tea. During this month, I was able to read The Silence of Bonaventure Arrow, The Art of Possibility on a Kindle. I just finished Cloud Atlas and this book is very good. It's 3:40 and I think I'm gonna call it a night. And I'm about halfway there on The Artist's Way and Lessons in Stoicism. And it's felt so good to be reading again. I've also meditated every day for almost 3 weeks, and I'm not sure if I'm doing that correctly. Just read about Sam Harris's Wake Up app. I think the method is like mindfulness meditations. This is gonna be the second day in which I try it, and it's just like I'm using my phone. That is not something that I wanted to do, but it's just for the app, so I think that's okay. And I've done a bunch of journaling on my morning pages. And I've loved that. Having this time to just focus on myself has been beautiful, really. I love how it feels, even if it's incredibly hard to wake up, and even if I feel like I want to die during the first minutes. When you get going, it's an amazing feeling. And just time flies so fast. I do love having this time to do all these small things. But there's been a downside to doing this. Even though these are all habits to focus on my mental health, most of the time during this experiment I felt like I haven't been able to sleep enough because it takes me a very long time to fall asleep every time. And that's not because of the segmented sleep structure itself, but because I've always suffered from onset insomnia, which just means that it's very hard for me to fall asleep at the beginning of the night. Even if I meditate before going to sleep, it usually takes me from 30 minutes to an hour to actually fall asleep, which usually means that I'm getting less sleep than what I'm planning for. Now, would I recommend a segmented sleep schedule? And that's a tricky question to answer. I'm still so undecided on whether I like this or not. I think it was very helpful and I've been liking the actual time of doing it. Like this, just if I were thinking about this soul time, I love doing this. Like it feels so peaceful. I don't know, like it's weird to be awake at this time because nothing is going on. Like no one is awake right now. It's just like I have so much of like the world to myself, kind of, I don't know. First, I really don't recommend messing up with our sleep. Sleep is such an important factor in our physical and mental health. And if we don't get enough sleep hours, things go downhill incredibly fast with our minds and bodies. Matthew Walker, author of Why We Sleep, has explained all the harm and disadvantages that we get when we don't have a healthy sleeping schedule. And there are a lot. Like there's an increased chance of developing Alzheimer's disease if we don't sleep enough. So we should sleep well or else we could have a horrible and slow death. Most of the days I was waking up naturally just a few minutes before my alarms went off. Like I always wake up naturally around 7:20 and my alarm always goes off at 7:30. So I think that's a good sign that my body is doing okay. Except when I was not. The days in which I didn't get enough sleep felt horrendous. I felt moody, I didn't feel creative, I was out of focus, just not productive, not healthy, not great. But on the days I did get enough sleep, I felt great. I felt very creative, very productive, I felt like most of my life was in balance. It was amazing. But my life is a bit messy at the moment, where I'm trying to balance a lot of things that bring me a lot of stress, which meant that I couldn't go to bed earlier than 11 p.m. And I think that was the main issue that I had with this experiment. And because of that, I wasn't able to perfectly follow this schedule. Yesterday my watch ran out of battery, so the alarm didn't go off. So I didn't wake up and I missed the day because of that, which I think is very upsetting. At least once a week there was a day in which I couldn't bring myself to wake up at 2:30 a.m. and I would just sleep in. It felt like there was an accumulated exhaustion that I had to solve every 5 days or so. So I failed to keep up with the experiment a few days during this month. So am I gonna keep following this schedule? No. I want to go back to sleep right now. Would I try it in the future? Possibly. Did it help my creativity or well-being? Most days it did, and on others it really did not. I'm just realizing how short or how little time I really need to do those things that are becoming very important to me. But I wonder if I'm gonna be able to keep up when I'm not doing this challenge anymore. I think it's gonna be very hard to continue having this discipline towards these things. I think it's easier to wake up at this crazy time and do all these things because I don't have any distractions right now. Like there's nothing going on in social media, like no one's posting memes, nothing is going on.
I think that's like one of the big parts that makes this easier in some way, even though it's like very hard to wake up at this time.
After this, I'm gonna try to add all the new healthy habits that I picked up along this experiment into my new schedule. I'm gonna go back to the monophasic format, and I need to organize so many things in my day that I'm pretty sure that after 4 or 5 p.m. I'm just gonna be on my phone as I did before. Because after this time I'm usually too tired to keep in focus, and I'm gonna try meditating so that I can reset my mind a little bit, but we'll see what happens. Having a productive and healthy discipline is something that is so hard for me to follow. And I think being isolated and having all this anxiety during this pandemic makes it even harder. And even if I reduce my productivity and healthy habits with the new schedule, I really need to go back to having enough sleep hours, because the days in which I didn't have them were a nightmare. So if you have any tips on how to be more disciplined with social media, or if you have a weird sleeping schedule, please share them in the comment section below with me. As always, if you liked this video or found it a little bit helpful, you can always drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I hope you create something, and I'll see you another time, because I'm gonna go collapse now. Good night.